Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Kentucky Cold. I'm Courtney. I'm a criminal justice major, and today we are going to finish off our Bardstown 5 series by talking about Tommy Ballard. At the end of the video, there's going to be a lot of talk about Nick Houck because of recent updates and how I feel everything ties together with him. Tommy Ballard was the father of Crystal Rogers, the woman that we discussed last week. He was very dedicated to finding his daughter. He had formed a search group with local community members to look for her, and he had went to the police about the white Buick. Coon hunters had spotted the car, and Tommy posted on his Facebook page in April of 2016 asking if anyone knew about this car. 4 days later, that's when Nick Houck had sold the car, but police were already looking for it. Now, in November of 2016, it was November 19th, 2016, Tommy was preparing for a hunting trip with his grandson on Ballard family land. And that's when a shot rang out, hitting Tommy in the chest, killing him instantly. The shooting was precise. This person knew what they were doing. There's not been any arrests made, and there's not a whole lot of information because, honestly, it was a shot from a distance. Nobody saw anything. It was very methodical. And I believe that Nick Houck could have been involved. I don't want to say he did it, but I think that he could have been involved. Because now we can put it all together. Nick had problems with the Jason Ellis. Whatever those problems were, I don't really know. But they didn't get along. Then Jason gets killed on the Bluegrass Parkway by being shot. Again, precise, methodical. They knew what they were doing. Nick was on the police department with Jason. He would have knew his route, his routine. He would have heard him call over the radio to sign off for the night. And he had experience with firearms. You can't be a police officer with bad aim. Then we've got Crystal, who was dating Brooks Houck, Nick's brother. That theory that she overheard them talking about Nick and Jason, I believe it. I believe it's very possible that she could have overheard something that she wasn't supposed to, and they decided that they needed to get rid of her. Her car was also found along the Bluegrass Parkway. Then we've got Tommy, who, for whoever truly did all of this, Tommy was a barrier. Because Tommy was a dedicated father. He wasn't going to sit idly by. He wanted to find his daughter. He wanted justice for his daughter. And he was working with anybody he could. So, if you're the person that was involved in killing his daughter, you're going to want to get rid of that barrier. So then, Tommy dies on the Ballard family farm, which is located along Bluegrass Parkway. And it's just a few miles from the Houck family farm, where Crystal was last seen. My thoughts on Jason, I feel like Nick would have had access to the Ballard family land at the time that Jason was killed because Brooks and Crystal were currently together. So because the Ballard family land runs along Bluegrass Parkway, not exactly at exit 34 where Jason was killed, but it's there. Nick could have had a faster getaway than other people. He could have killed Jason and then made it back into the area of the Ballards, ran through some woods or whatever he needed to do, because it was a hunting property, and made a clean getaway. In the case of Crystal, well, they didn't need access to the Ballard family farm. I mean, Brooks had access to Crystal. And what really bothers me about Nick not being indicted in Crystal's disappearance and murder is that Nick's then girlfriend said that Nick got up on the morning of July 3rd and was going to help his brother with rental properties. This upset her because they were planning a move and he was supposed to help. She tried contacting him all throughout the day with no success. 15 times. And she couldn't reach him. The morning of July 4th, she tried calling him again. The phone records show that Nick's phone was off during that entire time. Why? If you're just helping your brother with rental properties, why does your phone need to be off? Why is it almost impossible for your girlfriend to contact you? And why doesn't anybody know exactly where you were? See, if he had kept his phone on and say he truly was at these rental properties, keeping his phone on would have shown his location. Then there wouldn't be a question. We wouldn't be thinking that Nick did this stuff. But let's talk about the gun. A gun registered to Nick was sold after the shooting death of Tommy Ballard. This gun is consistent with the gun used to kill Tommy. And then we've got the car that Nick sold. There was hair found in the trunk of the car that was similar to Crystal's. Crystal's not just going to be laying in a trunk on her own for the fun of it. She was put there. And even if Nick didn't deliberately kill Crystal, if Nick had nothing to do with Crystal's murder, he very clearly had a lot to do with hiding her. He knows things. Guilty by association. Because he's keeping his mouth shut. And he shouldn't be. Just keeping his mouth shut is what makes him guilty anyway. He knows everything. He probably knows where her body is. Or what happened to it anyway. Because the unfortunate truth is, I believe the hog thing. I could see that being what they do. Because Nick was a police officer. He can hide things. It was probably his idea. Because there's no body. No evidence. Feeding her body to the hogs, while so horrible, was probably their best bet at not getting caught. On the plus side, 2 days ago, on June 4th, 2026, Nick Houck was arrested by KSP for perjury. They're not saying that it's related to Crystal. Nothing like that's been released yet because it is an ongoing investigation. But the timeline is from 2015 to 2023. Do with that what you will. I'm assuming it has something to do with Crystal. I mean, it's perjury, so we've been hiding a lot of information. And I know that everything that I've mentioned as far as Nick being allegedly involved is all circumstantial, and there's not really a lot that can be done with circumstantial evidence because there's always a different view on it. You know, prosecutors, they're going to throw up like, well, this, and this happened. And then the defense would be coming up with logical reasons for all of that. Correlation does not mean causation. So it would all be coincidence. And until they have physical evidence to really tie it all together, not a lot can be done with this circumstantial evidence. Let me know your thoughts down below. Starting next week, it will be just random stories from across Kentucky. They're not linked in any way. I mean, they might be. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there's a serial killer in Kentucky. I don't know. But it won't be a little series. I believe next week we will be talking about a teenage girl who went missing and was never found. I have theories on that one too, because that whole story, there's so much that doesn't make sense to me. So we'll discuss it, and I want to bring it back into the spotlight because I haven't heard a lot about her in quite some time. It's kind of like it was this huge story for a short amount of time, and then it just dropped. Nothing else. No words, like it never even happened. And that bothers me. I mean, she was a teenage girl. Anyway, we'll get into that next week. But yes, let me know your thoughts on this entire mess of stuff down below. Let me know, like, do you think it was Nick? Do you think he was involved with all three of them? Do you think he was involved with one of them? What are your thoughts? And if there are any cold cases across the state of Kentucky that you're interested in hearing about, please put them in the comments, and I will start looking into them as soon as possible, because now that we're done with the series, I have more room for things. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.